Hello and welcome. I figure since I'm now done with the latest Savage tier, which is the last Savage tier of Dawn Trail, I should do what a lot of people do and make a tier list of all of the Savage raids, or just the normal raids, just the raids, the Arcadian. A tier list of the Arcadian. And so I googled Final Fantasy XIV Arcadian tier list and found this website. Really, this is just an excuse for me to just talk about every fight and what I think about it. Spoiler alert, I don't think there are any bad fights in the Arcadian. I think the Arcadian has been the best raid series that Final Fantasy XIV has ever had. It's not my favorite story, just only because, like, I think the ending was a little... It wasn't exactly what I wanted. But overall, like, it's been incredible. So here we go. Let's talk about each fight and put it on a completely arbitrary tier list that doesn't really mean anything. So, first things first. The first fight, Black Cat. I liked Black Cat fine. I didn't think Black Cat was stellar. I think the first fight of an expansion is important because it's going to be a lot of people's first experience raiding in Final Fantasy XIV. New expansion, new players, they get to endgame, and a lot of even a lot of old players, they'll be like, okay, I've never done Savage before. This expansion's going to be the one where I get into Savage. And I think the first Savage fight in expansion is important. So did Black Cat kind of help with that? I think it was fine. Black Cat did a few important things. It taught you, it taught players how to, sorry, there's a cat on my lap. It taught people clock positions. It might have taught people boss relative if you did boss relative with it. It taught people how you can save mechanics for later. It taught people order, like when you have to get knocked back and break the floor. So I thought it was a pretty educational fight, I think, for a new player. It was pretty cool in certain times. Like, again, I really like the part where, like, you get uppercut and you fly through the air and you break the floor and everything. Like, that's really cool. But that being said, I don't think it was incredible. So I think Black Cat is going to be a B. I thought it was fine. Like I said, there's no bad fights here. So I doubt anything is going to go lower than B, unless, as I think about it, maybe. But we'll see. The next fight, Honeybee Lovely. Honeybee Lovely. Where are we gonna put Honeybee Lovely? I really liked Honeybee Lovely. I thought it was gonna be a little bit more crazy after the normal mode. When the normal mode came out, before Savage, I thought it was gonna be nuts. And then a lot of the mechanics were, is it going to be out and spread? Is it going to be in and stack? Stuff like that. But we still had a little bit of craziness in, like, the pheromones, or just lasers go out all randomly. A lot of people really hated that. I didn't hate it at all. It was different enough. It kept me on my toes. My cat is so cute. Sorry. The music, the music was awesome. The music became such a meme, while at the same time, I think, being legitimately a really good song. It was really fun. I did Honeybee Lovely week 1 in Party Finder. I do all of this in Party Finder, by the way. It was really fun because, like, if you messed up and gave her stacks, she healed, which potentially made her the hardest damage check in, like, that tier if people messed up, right? So we needed, like, a perfect pull, and I was trying really hard to get as much damage as possible. I'm tempted to put her in S tier, but I think I'm gonna leave her in A for now, and I might change it later. Brute Bomber. Brute Bomber was my least favorite fight of the first tier. So I think by that definition, we have to put it behind Black Cat, right? Again, not that it's bad. Brute Bomber did some really cool things. Thematically, it was really cool because, you know, he's taking performance enhancing drugs. He's punching out the ref. He's, you know, his enrage is jumping from the edge of the ring. He has some cool mechanics where you're getting knocked back into a knockback into a knockback behind the boss to dodge. That's really cool. He has a mechanic where, like, there's fuses going towards him and you have to stomp it out in the right order. That's really cool. The reason I put him low is because, like, every time I did this fight, I feel like there was a abnormal amount of time where the boss just kind of stands there and you hit him. Now, I'm saying that as a DPS because he spends a lot of time doing his tank buster because he hits repeatedly, right? And he does a lot of time doing the repeated AoEs, just repeatedly hit. He spends a lot of time drinking his performance enhancing drugs. He spends a lot of time hitting the ref bot. There's a lot of just kind of dead time where, yeah, fun stuff is happening because it's thematic, but you're literally just like, okay, you're gonna hit the boss for 30 seconds now, and nothing else kind of happens. That and like, I wasn't a huge fan of his music either, so I'm gonna put him as B. I think he was the weakest one of the first tier. And then it looks like we have different things for each phase of the last fights here. Wicked Thunder. I really liked Wicked Thunder. It's the first phase of Wicked Thunder I think was great. I think it was the perfect amount of puzzle and execution. The music is perhaps my favorite song from the Arcadian, which is saying something because, you know, all of the songs, well, almost all of the songs. There's a few songs that kind of grate me, like Brute Bomber. But I absolutely love Give It All. I put it on my workout list when I go work out. It's so good. Phase 1 is excellent. And the transition to Phase 2 is also excellent. And Phase 2 is definitely easier. There's only one hard mechanic in Phase 2, and that was, what was it called? Sunrise? And as you got later into the tier and people got gear, like, the strategy for Sunrise was to just skip Sunrise, kill it before it is. And we have to talk about, you know, the obviously the tier was undertuned. Usually, if you have really good DPS and you overgear it and everything, usually that means like you can skip like one major mechanic, right? But really early on in the tier, you could skip Sunrise and then skip the there's another mechanic after Sunrise where like you have to go with buddies to like you dodge the lines on the floor. People don't remember it because no one ever saw it, right? So it being undertuned by that much kind of made it a little bit worse. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put the first phase in S tier because I just love it so much, and I'm gonna put the second phase, I'm gonna put it in high A tier, even though it has those issues that I just talked about before. It does a lot of things really well. The feel of it is epic, even though like most of the mechanics of Phase 2 are easy. They feel good to do. I don't think difficulty equals fun. And I think Phase 2 of Wicked Thunder has a lot of good mechanics that make you pay attention, make you think, make you react. And shrouding that all in wonderful music, great aesthetic. The arena I love, like the nighttime city of Electro. Oh my god, it's so good. I really liked the first tier. Maybe this shouldn't be an S, but I think it should be S. I'm gonna put it there. Tier 2, Dancing Green. Dancing Green was fine, and I think Dancing Green deserves to be an A. I'm gonna put it in front of Honeybee. So Dancing Green did stuff that was unique for what it is. That's when you start the fight, it resets the music to a certain point to ensure that mechanics align with the music. And normally you don't see that outside of like Ultimate or maybe the second phase of non-door boss fourth fights, right? Most fights don't align the music with the mechanics. And Dancing Green, that was like half the point, is that you're at a disco and you're doing the mechanics. It was also kind of an interesting fight in that the hardest mechanic of the fight was like the second one. It was really early on, and I remember the first time I progged it, I had a hard time wrapping my head around. I know it's simple. You just alternate between the squares. But the first time I tried to do it, my brain just wouldn't do it. I had a hard time doing that mechanic. But once kind of like my brain attuned to the rhythm, it was good. I think it's an A. I don't think it's anywhere near an S. And the only reason I give it an A is because of those unique features of it. I think it was really cool that if you perform perfectly at certain times, it gives you a damage buff. I think it was really cool if everyone did it correctly, it gives you everyone a damage buff and it gives you limit gauge. That kind of interaction was unique and that was really cool. So yeah, I think Dancing Green's an A. Sugar Riot. Everyone is putting Sugar Riot in S tier from all the similar videos that I'm seeing. Sugar Riot does deserve to be an S tier. I'm not putting it above Wicked Thunder. So the only S tier part of Sugar Riot is of course the ad phase. Every other part of Sugar Riot is very normal Savage stuff. But it's all fun. I liked the music. The ad phase was one of the most well-designed ad phases I've ever seen in an MMO. I adored the ad phase, and I was maining Viper that tier, so I was really good at it. Viper was so broken in that fight with how much AoE you can pump out and cleaving. I thought basically like it created a unique challenge for the player base to overcome, a challenge that the player base was not used to overcoming. And it was a big wall for a lot of people, and I think that's healthy to have in an MMO where like the rating is so important to it, and having a unique wall for people to get over is awesome. So that deserves to be an S tier just for that. And like, by no means, the rest of the fight isn't free, but the rest of the fight is fairly normal. But we're gonna leave it an S tier for now. Brute Abominator. Ooh, Brute Abominator. So Brute Abominator, normal mode, not Savage, but normal mode, is my favorite normal mode in the game. In terms of just normal mode raids, Brute Abominator normal is the best one. Savage is interesting. It does a lot of cool stuff. It has 3 different arenas. You gotta do some boss relative stuff. You really need to like learn the patterns on like the second arena, especially to find the safe spots. It does a lot of cool stuff. I remember when I was progging this, and I like very early on when I was progging this, I just kind of had this epiphany of like, wait, is this boss easy? Because it was like the hardest normal mode going in there on day 1, and then I when I went into Savage and I saw a little bit of it, I was like, wait, this is actually pretty easy. But then I got to Enrage, and the Enrage was hard at the time. I forget what week I cleared this. I didn't do the second tier very quickly. By the way, I'm not great at the game. I do everything in Party Finder. I'm in no rush. I'm not clearing things week 1. I would describe myself as probably your average Party Finder enjoyer. So I'm not doing anything blind. I am using the resources available to me. I'm looking at raid plans. I'm looking at videos on YouTube. And I'm jumping into Party Finder to get these clears. So This perspective is that. This is not a perspective on a great player. This is a perspective on an average player. My cat just opened my door. But anyway, going back, Brute Abominator. The coolest part about Brute Abominator is the fact that you travel so much within the fight. You have to go through 3 different arenas. All the arenas are cool. Other than that, I don't think it's particularly amazing. So honestly, so I really liked the music for Brute Abominator, but like progging it for like 2 hours and the music going on repeat, the music actually did start to grate on me a little bit. And that's very rare for me in Final Fantasy. I don't play my own music. I play the music in the game. I'm torn between putting this at a high B or a low A. I'm gonna put it at a low A. Yeah, I'll put it at a low A. And we can change this later on as well. Howling Blade is an S, without a doubt. I really like fast fights. And Howling Blade is probably the fastest non-ultimate, I would say. Like, what Savage fight is faster than Howling Blade? Can you think of any? I can't. At least not in my experience. I thought when I did my melee walkthrough of Howling Blade, I just kept saying, this isn't complicated, it's just fast. And I said that 5 times in the walkthrough. It's just fast. But it was fast but fair, and it was really fun to do. The music, I remember when I first heard the music doing normal mode, it was my least favorite music of the tier. But there are some songs that when you listen to them during prog, they just kind of work. So while I don't think the music for Howling Blade, at least phase 1, is incredible, I'm not going to put that on my workout list, right? While I was progging it and while I was through all my reclears, I liked it during the fight. So the music was cool too, at least during the fight. And then phase 2, I'm going to put phase 2 in an S tier as well. I thought the second phase of Howling Blade was also incredibly good. It's so important for things in phase 2 of the last Savage fight of a tier to get bigger and more epic. And that's exactly what this did. And I liked all of the mechanics in phase 2. They're also fairly fast. Not as fast as phase 1, but still fast enough. The enrage sequence where he's breaking the platforms and you're running out of platforms and you're just about to lose the last platform when you kill him. I mean, it's so good. And the music was so epic. That has to be an S tier. And then we're on the current tier. Femme Fatale. I like Femme Fatale. But I don't think you could put Femme Fatale higher than a B. I'm gonna put it in a high B. I'm gonna put it above the other 2 B tiers. Femme Fatale, it's a very simple fight. But I think the mechanics are fun to do. With the saw that's coming towards you and you have to dodge, diagonally and then left and right and everything. It has a cool ad phase. The fight is very personal. There's not a lot of teamwork mechanics in it. It's very much a personal responsibility fight where you just got to do your thing right? I think it's fine. I thought the music was really good. I think it's fun that story-wise, Femme Fatale and Honeybee Lovely are rivals. I think that's hilarious. But yeah, I think maybe this could be a low A. I would be fine with this being a low A, but I think we'll keep it at B. It was fairly easy. I think I cleared it. I cleared it day 1 in Party Finder in my second group. But it was a fun time doing it. Every week when I do my reclears, I have a good time reclearing it. I think it's fun. I might be a little divisive with the extremes, deep blue and hot red. I'm putting this at B. Putting this at B. That perhaps might not be fair because this fight does a lot of unique things. It's 2-target that you can cleave, but it doesn't. It makes sure that you can't cleave too much. So like, Dragoons are the best melee on this fight because Dragoons are good at 2-target cleave, but they're not outrageous because what the boss very cleverly does is it will give you like 10 seconds to cleave and then the boss is split up. And then, 2 minutes later, they'll give you another 10 seconds to cleave and then they'll split up again. So like, yeah, it's a 2-target cleave fight, but like just barely. And that's a good design. Otherwise, like classes like Dragoon or Pictomancer would just absolutely, shit on this fight. The reason I'm putting it at B, even though like it does a lot of unique things, it does a lot of cool arena denial things. There are multiple ways you can solve some mechanics. It does a lot of really cool things. I as a melee player, when I was progging this, I hated it. Because just like every other melee player that's done this fight, every time you want to hit the boss dashes away. Every time you want to hit the boss becomes untargetable. It just annoyed me to no end. It annoys me less now that I have it on farm and I'm just clearing it in my reclears every week. I don't mind it anymore, but I was really frustrated like the first day I tried it. The music, I normally like the genre of music for the extremes, but I don't know, something about the vocals are just kind of nasally, kind of gets on my nerves just a little bit, which is fine. For me, I think it's a B. I don't think anyone would be wrong putting it in A. It's definitely not an S. Definitely not an S. And then we have the Tyrant. The Tyrant is kind of controversial right now because the Tyrant is a huge wall in Party Finder. So many people having so much trouble killing the Tyrant, including me on my reclears sometimes. I cleared this week 2 in Party Finder. I probably could have cleared it week 1, but it's like Party Finder giveth and Party Finder taketh away. If you don't find groups that could do the mechanics, you're just not going to do it. But I felt like I had a good understanding of the fight in week 1. I just didn't get a good group. And then week 2, I cleared it. It's at least a very high A. It might be S, but I'm gonna put it in high A for now. I'm gonna put it behind. Yeah, I'll put it in the highest A right now, in front of all the other A's. So the Tyrant, the first phase, you do a lot of the weapons, and it's fast. And like I said before, I like fast fights. For a third fight Savage, it's fairly fast. It's not as fast as Howling Blade, but it's fast enough. Which I like. I'm not bothered by the fact that he does weapons like 3 times in a row. The music, kind of in the same boat as Howling Blade. Like when I first heard the music when we did normal on day 1, it was my least favorite. But progging it and listening to the music during prog for like an hour or 2, it actually grew on me. So I actually like the music now. I think it suits the fight really well. I kind of jam out to it when I'm doing my reclears of it. The mechanics from the halfway point are fine. Arena Split is not hard at all. It's kind of to the point with Arena Split where it's annoying when people fail at it because it's really easy. It's like, what are you guys doing? Like, it's really simple. So when you get a wipe in Arena Split, it's like, what's going on, you guys? The Orbital Omen took me a while to get the timing for. That's really tight. And the last mechanic, Stampede, is deceptively difficult, especially in Party Finder. Um, you look at the raid plan for Stampede and you're like, wow, this is really easy. But then you go into Party Finder and somebody just makes a mistake. Somebody is standing too close to the boss during the four-way hit and they get cleared by multiple ones. People are baiting wrong. People don't know which tower they're going to. It's I've had so many re-clear groups where people just fail on Stampede and then the party disbands. Deceptively difficult for a quote-unquote like simple mechanic. I think it's definitely an A. I like it a lot. It's probably, if I were to be fair, okay, now I don't think they should change this, but I think it's fair to say that it's probably overtuned by like 2% health, right? The damage check even now in Party Finder is quite difficult. I think it's probably 2% too high. That being said, it can be done. You know, I did it phase 2 in Party Finder. I'm not a great player. I don't parse well. Not that I try to parse at all, but it can be done. So like, I don't think they should change it, but I do think it's just a tiny bit overtuned. But Gear is going to fix that. Every week that problem is going to be less of a problem. And then the final fight, we got 2 phases. The Lindworm, phase 1. I'm kind of torn on phase 1 of the Lindworm. It's definitely not a B. I think I'm gonna... So the Lindworm, I kind of like the fight. The music, of course, is amazing. I like the fight. It's fun to do. It's not hard, which is like kind of what you want for a door boss. You don't want a super hard door boss because then it's just really annoying to get to phase 2, right? It's the worst feeling in the world when you keep wiping on phase 1 when you're trying to prog phase 2, right? My problem with the Lindworm is story-wise. It just doesn't seem to fit the theme of the Arcadian. And that's how I felt when I first did normal mode. You know, we just had this awesome fight in like a Roman arena versus the Tyrant. And then we go into a big dark room and there's a giant lizard there. And you're like, you're the last boss? That's not what I wanted. I wanted a giant battle royale with everyone joining in. You know? The most bombastic WWE wrestling battle royale. That's what I wanted as the big finale. But instead I'm gonna fight a lizard. So thematically that bumped it down a lot. Even though I think the mechanics of this fight are fine. They're fun to do. I don't hate the fight. I'm gonna put it in A just because of that reason. That was a big reason for me. Like I remember when I first did normal mode, like I was going through it and I was just like, it's a cool fight, but I'm not feeling it, right? I'm gonna put it above Brute Abominator, but below the other ones. But then phase 2. Phase 2 is an S tier. I'm gonna put phase 2. Where are we gonna put phase 2? We're gonna have to do some reorganizing here. I'm gonna put them in the top of phase 2 for now, if I can. Phase 2 is amazing. Phase 2 is such a unique encounter. The arena is cool. The music being a compilation of all the other music in the Arcadian was really cool. Which would have worked with my battle royale idea, by the way. The mechanic is so satisfying to do. It's such like you have to bend your mind into such different shapes. Trying to do phase 2 idyllic dream, right? It feels like one small step below an ultimate, right? With the way that it is, it's designed like an ultimate would be, just like maybe just a smidge easier than that. I liked it a lot. When I cleared it, it was kind of anticlimactic. The DPS check for phase 2, surprisingly, not that tight. I was in a learning group, and we were still learning. Like, I wasn't even potting because I was like, we're not clearing the fight. Everyone's still making mistakes. We're still kind of learning Idyllic Dream. And then we had kind of a pretty clean pull, and then half the group got like a damage down close to the end, and I'm like, all right. But then we just killed it. And I was like, oh, that's kind of anticlimactic, you know? The boss just kind of died. But even that, when I did like my reclear this week, it's such a fun fight to do correctly. It feels so good to understand all the mechanics and do them correctly, along with the arena and the music and everything with it. So yeah, as you can see, there are no bad fights in the Arcadian. The lowest thing is going to be B tier, which is still pretty good. Let's take a look at this real quick. I'm going to put 12S at the very top. I think what do we got here? I'm very partial to Wicked Thunder Phase 1. I really liked Wicked Thunder Phase 1, but I feel like I'm overly partial to it. I'm going to put her back. I'll put her at the end of S tier, which is probably fair. I'm gonna put Sugar Riot right in front of Wicked Thunder. I think Howling Blade Phase 1 and 2 are definitely better. They're really good. They were the whole second tier was incredibly good, and the final fight of it was incredibly good. I think that's fair. In the A tier, we got the Tyrant at the top of the A tier. I think that's fair. Phase 2 of Wicked Thunder. Okay, we're gonna bring that back down. It's still gonna be A tier, but it's gonna be low A tier. I'm gonna put Honeybee in front of Dancing Green. And I'm gonna put Lindworm Phase 1 in front of Dancing Green. I think that's fair. If the second phase of Wicked Thunder just had more health so you could see more of the mechanics, I think it would be a lot higher. But we're going to keep it there. And then the last B tier, we got Femme Fatale at high B tier. We have Black Cat behind that. We have Brute Abominator behind that, and the Extremes behind that. I think that's fair for me. Like I said, none of these fights are bad. The lowest is B tier. I absolutely adored all of the Arcadian. I love them. It's been some of the best time rating I've ever had, and I do all of this in Party Finder. What do you think? Do you guys agree with my choices? If you do, let me know below. If you don't, let me know below. Maybe I'll argue with you in the comments, or maybe not. We'll see. Anyway, until next time.